Alright, hello and welcome back to Monastery. This is my blog, obviously, and I'm going to go through what I've been through from July 8th through July 15th. So let's go ahead and take a look at day one here. Actually, last week I decided I wanted to start doing more weighted pull-up variation because I noticed several years ago that when I was doing that I had a lot more carryover to my one-arm strength by doing weighted pull-ups. And I'm going to be supplementing that with archer pull-ups as well, and I feel that these two things are two great dynamic ways to build my upper body pulling strength without doing one-arm negatives, which are just way too taxing on me to be doing regularly. A second ago you also saw me using that thing called a gyro ball. That's just to help with some grip issues I'm having and pain in my elbow. It works pretty good to kind of get the whole forearm. I was really happy with this setup for doing my press handstand work on the canes. It allowed me to have a spot to kind of push past, or have a goal to kind of push through. So I was experimenting with that, and then working through this kind of range that I'm having trouble pushing through. It allows me to be able to kind of get into that spot and work that range that has been kind of in a sticking area for me. Also getting back to weighted training now that my quads are cooperating. I learned this one specifically from Steve Atlas, the double dumbbell front squat, and I'm going to be incorporating that more and more into my work. Right here I'm doing what's it called? Bench press, elevated bench press, incline bench press, sorry, with some kettlebells and doing some ring work. I was doing some curls there a second ago with the rings, and now I was doing rows. Going on to the next day. Monday evenings I usually do aerial with my wife. We've been working on putting together a doubles aerial act, and I have to say, I need to really be picking up the pace for this. I am trying to put this as a priority for my training during the week, and just by seeing the progress that we've come to with doing only once per week, by adding in that extra time, I should be able to really push that a little bit farther. So hopefully I'll be able to do that more, and it's a priority of mine to do so. So hopefully we'll see more of that and me training that throughout the week. Aerial in general is actually a pretty hard skill set for me. It's not something that comes naturally to me, though after a while I can remember the patterns. It's something that's very new to me, so it's a slow learning curve for me with that particular thing, but I'm kind of happy to be doing it, because as I'm getting better at it, it just goes with anything else. If you stick to it and keep with what you're supposed to be doing, you'll see progress no matter what. That's the biggest thing, is stick with it and you'll see progress. Definitely have to work more on my flexibility though, because aerial has such a big component for flexibility. Recently we've had a couple of storms going on, so I had to do some yard work the other day, and so I felt a little He-Man-ish getting outside and pushing this tree branch off that got broken off our tree outside. It was a nice fun little warm-up for the day for that early morning on Tuesday. Tuesday evening is usually tricking or tumbling for open gym time, so I really look forward to that and reclaiming these skills, really trying to build up my endurance for these skills for performance work, so I can draw on them even when I'm tired. Working the 540 here, just doing as many repetitions as I can until either I get winded or until my form starts to drop, and then I kind of take a small break and I'll do some more, or I will just move on to the next skill. So instead of spending a lot of time in that one particular skill, I just kind of do as many as I can till my form degrades and then move on, and I found that works really good for stamina work. Always working on the butterfly twist. It's something I love to do, one of my favorite skills, one of my first skills I learned too, and you can see though I have a tendency to kind of jump toward my head, and I really need to try and break that habit, stay on that line. It'll allow for an easier swing through if I ever actually get that skill. I've only ever trained that skill maybe once or twice, the butterfly twist swing through, and so it would be a great accomplishment to get a butterfly twist swing through to cork. As an intermediate skill for me, it would be a great accomplishment. Later that night, I'm still working on my twisting skills, so I have this little setup where I have a spotting block, and I do these back layouts, the twisting skills. You can see right there, I don't really know why my arm is coming out to the side when I do those back layouts, but I'm going to try and fix that. Trying to reinstall those habits of the round off back handspring passes. My goal is to get my round off back handspring back full again, and if time permits it, I'll hopefully one day get my round off back handspring double full, but it's just a goal. I'm just going to work toward it and come what may. And here comes the next day, just getting warmed up and doing some hamstring work. Always love doing my leg swings first thing in the morning. Always feels really good. This day I was actually working on doing some of Steve Atlas' primary series work. Every time I do these, I love the progress that I make with them, and I love the way they're set up to kind of, after you're done with it, you just feel like your whole body is engaged. So each time I do those, they're a great thing to know and to be privileged to learn from. Steve Atlas is great. I'm working toward trying to be consistent with my press handstand more, and so my goal was to get 2 in a row press handstands. I did 5 sets of 2 in a row, and hopefully build on from there. So that's a big accomplishment for me too as well. Just doing some pull-up work here, trying to do really, really high pull-ups with very little swing, and keeping my pulling strength up even though I'm doing weighted pulls and archers. It's always good to do to prime that original movement. You know, you never can do too many pull-ups in a way, so just working them like always. And this is the day where I started to really degrade in form. I think this was a Thursday morning. Or a Wednesday morning for that. I had to do a lot of computer work this day, but I thought, I'll get about 20 minutes in of doing leg work, and I did those sissy squats to start out, and they just destroyed me. I actually started out with this set right here, which I was doing low stance work, and I thought I'd couple it with sissy squats, and just after 2.5 minutes of doing that kind of stuff, it felt really good, but then I did the sissy squats, and right after that I just was completely destroyed, and it wrecked me like for several days. I'm still sore right now from it. So I kind of learned my lesson with that. I got to go a little slower with those. I'm not a deterrent to or against getting sore. I just don't think it's useful for what I'm doing right now, and I have to be very useful for my wife when it comes to acrobatic work and everyday kind of stuff. I can definitely get a good workout and get strong and get fit and everything like that, and toned and muscular without getting super sore every single time. So I just got to keep track of that and make sure that I stay in check and not get my ego wrapped up around, I gotta finish this thing, soreness or not. And I'm okay with a little bit of soreness, but the amount that I had from that particular set, just like I said, it wrecked me for several days, and it put me into overtraining mode and really messed with the rest of my week. I was just so tired, especially from the extra workload at how many hours I'm teaching a week now. It just did not fit well, so I gotta just really watch that next time, and still gonna do them, but I have to make sure I do them at a level that I can recover properly from. And here's me just jamming out while doing computer work at Starbucks. Really have this synthwave kick going on right now. I love listening to synthwave because there's very little lyrics, and it just helps me to focus. Yeah, that's me just jamming out there. Thursday night had to blow off some steam, so I just made sure to do a couple more of these box spotting block drills, and actually ended up with a pretty decent back full that night, so I was really happy with that. It was a good win for me. And that evening, working on working on partner acrobatics with my wife. We are a very interesting couple for this kind of thing because we are both we're the same height, and that's not something you commonly find with partner acros. Usually the base is much bigger than the flyer, and so that's kind of it's both a challenge but also a very different thing you get with us because of that. We're just going to look that much bigger and that much better if we push through this, and there's a lot of work that we've done to develop this, and trust involved with it. So it's come a long way, and we're working towards some pretty advanced skills now, and hopefully with time we'll be able to do even greater skills. So it's tough. It's not an easy thing to do by any means. It's a lot of work, and it's, there's actually quite a lot of pain involved with it too, because of the positions and everything, and doing stuff too much or too little, or not being properly prepped, or being too tired, or it's a huge process. In acrobatics, you're doing some pretty weird things with your body, and you have to constantly keep everything in check and moving. Otherwise, you go to do these moves again, if you miss and you don't do them for a couple weeks and go do them, all of a sudden, you crank your neck or your back, or you hurt your hip or your shoulder, and you have to wait a couple weeks to recover from that. So it's a tough challenge. I was really happy with this balance right here. We've been working to reestablish this one, and we got pretty flat this day, so my strength's improving there. This one, however, is going to take a bit of time for us to develop into, but I was pretty happy that we can get up from the floor. I'm going to have to really work on my overhead lifting strength, though, to make this a more versatile lift. I almost passed out there, so that was fun. Well, that's it, and I just want to kind of close with some words with you. I recently had a death in the family. My Aunt Linda passed away the other day, and I did my crying already, but it made me reflect on a lot of things about, what is the point of all this training and these skill work if it's not to build relationships with people. I don't want to be that person that's a hermit that goes into hiding just to fulfill my own self esteem, or to be selfish in this way. That's not my goal with this type of training. It's a way to better become in touch with myself, so I can become better in touch with other people. And what is life if not for relationships between you and other people? I just want to say, I love you, Aunt Linda, and I was very sad to have heard of your passing, and my heart goes out to the family, my family, and her son Sean, and everybody like that. And I just want to let you all know that, cherish the people that you do love in your life, and make sure that they do know it. You don't have to send them an email. And even an email or text, they're valid things, but talk to those people and make sure that they know that you do love them, because it's a short life when you look at it, and it's over in a blink of an eye, and you have to make the best of it. And every single day, make the best of it. And we have days that are really rough and that we don't want to do anything with. And that morning that I got a call about things going on that happened so quickly over the weekend, I was not in the mood of waking up. I didn't want to do anything with my day that day. And then I had to, in that moment, have to say, I had to say my goodbyes at that very moment. And I was just like, I had to pony up and man up and just say, dig deep and say, what's the most important thing I can say to this person right now that means the most? And, I just said that, I love you, and you helped raise us, and you helped raise me, and during the really hard times of our lives, and I love you for that. And it was deep and it was heartfelt. I just want to tell you as well that sometimes we don't get along with people in our lives, and sometimes there's people that that maybe didn't do a very good job loving us or showing that they loved us, but you got to find ways to make amends with those people in your life, and move on. So just saying to you out there, I always put at the end of these videos, live, love, inspire, or that my body's my temple, where I go, it goes. It is my movement monastery. But just remember that we're not here to do acrobatics. We're not here to do any of that stuff that we've figured out how to do. The only thing that we have are our relationships and our bodies. And we have to find a way to use those things to better our connections between us. Anyway, that's all I got for you guys today. Have a great evening, and or a great day wherever you are. And I love all of you, and thank you for watching.